Agata, welcome to the Platform podcast. Very much appreciate you getting up. I'm going to imagine this is maybe early for you, or do you normally
Yeah,
get up this early?
I usually get up at this around this time, so I had to get a little bit earlier this morning.
Awesome. No, thank you for doing that. Playing time zones on the other side of the world, Brisbane does not play nice too often for everybody else. So thank you very much for doing that one, mate. And I always ask with one question, not that I don't think many people know who you are, but who are you, Agata, and what do you do?
I'm a powerlifter, obviously, 2 times world champion, 2 times vice world champion, 2 times Sheffield champion, and a bunch of other things. So yeah, it's my job, it's my life. That's the only thing I do.
Yeah, it was one of my first questions for you. So, powerlifting, essentially, you're a full-time athlete. Would that be right?
Yeah, yeah.
What's that like?
Just wake up, eat breakfast, go to the gym, then eat some more, get my steps in, and then I go to sleep. That's basically what my days look like.
Rinse and repeat. I love it. I think you're kind of at the start or the early stages for and trailblazing for the powerlifters that are coming through. The concept of being able to be a full-time athlete is, I think, kind of newish to our sport, and it's super exciting to see someone like yourself have that opportunity and go hard for it. Did you ever think that would be possible when you first started dabbling with powerlifting? Well, you've been doing it for a little while now.
Not really. When I started in 2019, I don't think there was like any money in powerlifting. Definitely not this much. Basically, in 2022, after competing at my first Worlds, I started getting money, some from like my sponsors, some from the government, and then Sheffield started happening, and I just decided to drop out of college and see how it works out, and it worked out.
It's going okay. What were you doing at college?
Getting a maths degree.
Maths degree. So we got a big brain in there as well. Were you? What was the plan for the maths degree? Did you have a career path you were thinking to do with
Not
that, or you just
really.
enjoyed the numbers?
I just like maths, so I decided to go and get that. But then along the way, I was like, I don't really want to work in this field, so I'm just
Hmm.
getting a paper that I won't use for anything.
Was it an easy decision to step across into a sport that it's like you said, it had no money that long ago, so having money is quite new to the sport. Was that a scary move to do that, or you just take things on and run with it?
Not really. I had some like plan B, so I thought if anything goes wrong, I can either start coaching or I have a forklift certification. Like
Really?
I can, yeah, I got that,
Cool.
so I was like, I can always start riding a forklift if anything goes terribly wrong. So yeah,
But haven't needed the fork. You're a human forklift, very good at lifting the weights. Now, I had the opportunity of having your coach on a little while ago. Awesome lad. Really enjoyed the conversation. How did you guys come across meeting each other?
we met through my boyfriend actually. I met my boyfriend at the national meet in 2022, and we just like started talking and stuff. And I mentioned that I'm looking for a coach for Equipped because I was prepping for the World Games at that time, and I was self-coach up until that point, and I didn't really know how to program for Equipped. So I told him that I'm looking for a coach, and he was like, "Oh, you should go to Pavel." And I was like, "Okay, sounds good. I don't have any other ideas."
Yeah. And so essentially self-coached up until then. So there was a couple of years of doing it yourself. Did you just come up with everything yourself? Were you looking on the internet on what to do? What was guiding you to rule out training plans and that kind of stuff?
So at the beginning, I was kind of coached by the coach from my powerlifting club, but
Hmm.
he didn't really write anything down. He would just come to the gym and he would tell you what to do. And
Hmm.
after a while, I kind of stopped progressing doing that. So I started looking online for inspiration and just like watching coaches' content, getting some free programs. And then I started basically trying to build my own thing. And Yeah,
Did barbells come naturally for you?
pretty much I would say, yeah.
When did you first touch a barbell? How old were you?
Phew. I think the first time was during PE in junior high school, so 12 or 13. But yeah, it all started with me like exercising at home with some dumbbells and stuff, doing those trainings from YouTube
Hmm.
and just like a little bit of cardio, a little bit of weights.
What was your inspiration to get into weights at such a young age?
My sisters,
Are
basically,
they
one
strong
of my
too?
older sisters, they don't go to the gym, but one of my older sisters got a set of dumbbells for birthday and yeah, started exercising at home and I
Hmm.
just kind of joined in. We actually, so I have three older sisters, and there was a time when we would all just get together and do Melby workouts in the
Yep.
living room. So that was really, really
Did
cool.
you would have run out of weight on the dumbbell quite quickly, I imagine, if you naturally were quite strong. And then
I
was there
was
much
like,
culture as a young person growing up for barbells and weights training for around your age?
could you repeat? I didn't get the
Was
beginning.
there many people in your friendship circle at 12 and 13 doing dumbbells and barbells, or was that kind of, were you a bit of an outsider for that?
Not really. There were some friends from school who would like start a little bit later,
Hmm.
so I wouldn't say so. There were people who did some exercising with like bodyweight and stuff, so we would talk about that, but it wasn't that
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah. See, and then how did you stumble across powerlifting then?
I when I started training, I really got into like fitness content and stuff on YouTube, so I started watching a lot of that. I saw people going to the gym and thought that was fun, and I came across the YouTube channel of Serena Abway. I think that's how you pronounce it. She is a powerlifter, and she posted a vlog from going to Junior Worlds, I believe. And I watched that, and I was like, I can bench the same. I didn't take into account that I was 20 kilos heavier, but yeah, I thought powerlifting looked fun, and I wanted to give it a go, and that's basically how it started.
Damn. And your first meet, do you remember your first numbers, your first competition?
My first meet was a bench only, and I think I benched 65 kilos, probably, yeah. But
Nice.
my gym PR at that time was 70 kilos already, so I don't know what happened there.
Had to pause it at the comp maybe.
Maybe.
Wow. And mate, bench, and then you gravitated to equip lifting first. Is that right?
Not really. I did only raw for 2 years, and then I was basically pushed into equipped
Uh huh.
by some people from our fed. So then I started doing equipped as well
Yeah. How did you
in
find equip lifting?
2021 at the national team's training camp. I saw other lifters doing equipped, and yeah, that's how it
That's
started.
pretty cool. So you guys have a national team training camp.
We did up until 2020, and
Okay.
then we lost government funding, so we don't have that anymore.
Dang, that would have been nice because that's something we don't have here in Australia either. It's all the gyms for fighting for themselves. That would have been a good time for powerlifting though, having that kind of funding for you guys to get together as a group and train together.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And
It
then
was like it would always be 10 days long, and we'd just go to like a Olympic training center facility. So we would just basically eat there, train, sleep, and that was it. So we would just have this like 10 days long camp with only powerlifters. That was so fun.
geez, that would have been fun as a young person. That would have been
Yeah,
unreal. You just get to hang out with everyone, lift weights, and eat food all day.
yeah.
Was it a competitive environment where everyone's trying to beat each other, or was everyone kind of working together?
I mean, just training together, having fun.
Yep. Yep. But if someone's in your weight class, maybe keeping an eye on.
Powerlifting in Poland isn't really that competitive, so
Yep.
you don't really have a lot of people having in class weight in weight class battles.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So then you find yourself on the world stage as a junior, like straight off nationals. What was it like going to your first junior worlds?
I got sick at 10 days out, like some stomach flu. So yeah, basically just throwing up for 2 days straight. Lost a bunch of weight, missed my heaviest sessions in prep, and I was basically half alive at this meet. So it wasn't the best performance, but I really enjoyed competing. It was, experiencing that for the first time, seeing all those powerlifters live. That was my first time meeting Just Bittner in real life, and I got so excited because, you know, that was like my first powerlifting idol.
Yep. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool because, like you said, you started with this watching people on YouTube and being inspired by them, and now all of a sudden you're lifting alongside them, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. And then beating them eventually, which is pretty good. Was that like a pinch yourself moment? Is that the kind of you knew, or did you know before that you're like, yeah, this is me, I'm a powerlifter?
Don't know, I would say so. I loved powerlifting since I started doing it. So
Mm.
from the first time I stepped foot into my first powerlifting gym, like I knew that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. And now you're just on the back of winning open worlds, dominating over there. That was pretty impressive. We had that playing at the gym several times over and over. Yeah, you're everyone at our club. We're big fans of you. But getting to your first Sheffield, what was that like? Getting invited to that experience and being able to be a part of your first one. My
That's
notes
quite
say
fun because
23.
going into Worlds in 2022, I misunderstood the qualification criteria. At first, I thought by just doing 95% of the world record, I would get an invite. And then I realized, wait, no, you have to win as well. And I lost on body weight. So I was like, should did I just miss out on Sheffield? But yeah, then the anticipation and waiting for the wildcard invitation was like so stressful because I
Yeah.
think I got that in December, which was so long after Worlds. So that was pretty stressful. And then I got injured going into Sheffield. So again, not the best performance
What did you do
because
to
at that
yourself?
time I just overtrained and hurt my back. Because at that time I was working with my coach, but he would only program my equip training. So I did my raw programming and I just pushed too hard because you're going to Sheffield, you want to win and stuff, and yeah. So the last basically 2 or 3 weeks on training were all over the place. Like there were days when I couldn't squat one, get 170 off the floor.
Yep.
So I wasn't that excited going into this meet, but the experience itself, it was so cool. Like if you've been to Sheffield, you know what it feels like. It feels like you're a professional athlete, and that was my first time experiencing it, and just like getting taken care of so well, and walking in front of that crowd and
Mm.
all of that. That felt so cool, and I just knew I had to come back. Like that's what I'm lifting for. That's what I want to do.
Did that obviously light a fire under you of additional motivation for that year? And did you sort of look back reflectively on what needed to change and what you need to do differently for that coming year?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Right after competing, like decided with my coach that he's gonna start fully programming for me, which was a really good idea.
Hmm.
And yeah, basically, I was like, I can't let that happen ever again. Like,
Hmm.
I want to come to Sheffield being 100% because
Hmm.
coming in 12 and hitting only like 6 attempts or five, I'm not sure. I also only got one bench and stuff, so that was probably the worst performance of my life.
A learning experience.
Yeah,
And then, but then you come out and win the next year.
yeah, we've learned our lessons.
Yeah. Did you, are you the type of person that goes into a comp thinking like you're going to win?
Honestly, it depends on who I'm going against. I'm not really like, I'm gonna win this for sure. I got this. I'm more of like, I know I can win if I do everything right and I have a good day. But if anything goes wrong, I know there's other people who could beat me. I mean, if that's the case, obviously. So I'm more of a realistic person. I would say.
Like that. Do you pay much attention to your competitors and what they're doing? Do you have friendship relationships with them? Are you kind of looking over there, or do you just have your blinkers on and you're just worrying about what you can do when it's when you're in training?
I look at what everyone else is doing, but yeah, a lot of people don't really post their training, so it's hard to
Mm.
follow. But yeah, I try to like always see what everyone else is doing and
Hmm.
compare their training to their previous trainings vlogs and like what they did before previous competitions, what they hit in comp, and I just try to predict what they're gonna do.
Mm. Does that help? Do you formulate a competition plan then when you go into the big meet like Sheffield, kind of based off what you can see other people are doing and could potentially do on the day as well?
I we don't really take that into account. We just look at my training and see kind of what we're capable of.
Hmm.
I feel like making plans based on others' training is uh, not the best idea.
Yeah. Hmm. And then, how do you enjoy the different style of battle between the totals in a weight class and with the formula on the Sheffield?
I mean, you also have kind of the in weight class battles at Sheffield, even though
Yeah.
it's not a weight class competition, there's always some in weight class battle. I think I like the in weight class battle a little bit more because I would say it's a bit more fair compared
Mm.
to how Sheffield is scored.
And who is your biggest rival at the moment? Who is the person that would challenge you the most?
Right now, I think I would say Amanda, obviously, because, like, I've beat everyone in the 69s and 76s, so got to find someone new.
So would you go up to her?
Yeah, I am. Already started bulking.
Let's go. So what? So that would have to put you in the 84s.
Yep, at Worlds next year.
Have you two spoken about this?
I mean, in person, I don't think so, but yeah, I've been talking about it for a while, so
Yep. So everyone knows.
she knows. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. What would you need to total to take her? What'd she
depends on
do?
what she does, but
But yeah,
obviously
because you weighed in. What did you weighed in under 69s recently? At
63.7.
63, 84 kilos is going to be a lot more muscles on your frame.
We'll see. Well, yeah, but when you've been training for 6 years, how much muscle can you really add?
Yeah, yeah. So does that mean, do you guys, with consideration of trying to go up a couple of weight classes, do you approach training a bit differently? Hypertrophy, lack of a better word, trying to grow a little bit, or do you change it out, or do you just stay on the similar plan and just eat more food?
So that's like up to my coach, I would say. But yeah, we've talked about adding some hypertrophy work now that I'm finally gonna be in a calorie surplus.
Yeah. Do you like, I mean, because cutting, obviously you cut for this last one. Is it nice to be training and being able to eat lots of food?
Yeah, I miss that so much. So I've been cutting pretty much continuously for almost a year because I started last year in July after Euro Muscle Show because
Hmm.
I went down for Sheffield 24, went up for Worlds, then went down again. So yeah, I started last year in July and then just basically kept cutting until
Yeah.
Worlds, and that
Poof.
was just like too long,
Yeah, yeah,
mentally,
yeah.
physically, just exhausting. So yeah, I'm so happy. It's not even about the calories itself, but also just being able to go out and eat. To when someone offers you some candy, just take it and eat without worrying, and just
Yep.
like
Actually get to eat it
being
now.
yeah, and being able to enjoy the foods that you like, and not just looking at what's gonna keep you the fullest and what's the highest in volume.
Sad times. That's not good. And have you found a training change, like just in general performance in your training currently at the moment, being able to eat a bit more food?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. I mean, I was holding on to my strength and even making progress pretty good, even at the end of this cut, and it's only been 2 weeks of being on higher calories, so it's hard to say how that's gonna affect my performance, but I definitely feel a lot more energy already.
Yep. Poof. Look out, Amanda. It's going to be a big total coming. Now, obviously, with your training, it's evolved quite a lot over the time you've been doing it. You're obviously quite noted on the internet for SBD days. Do you just dream of SBD? Like, 'cause it's on your t-shirt, obviously.
Yeah.
Is that all you think about because you do so many SBDs? And I guess my real question is, how did you come to the idea of wanting to train such a high frequency?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned, I was self-coach up until March 2022. I just came across Madvina's YouTube video or short where he talked about doing 6 SBDs, and he said that he's added like some number to his total. And yeah, he talked about how he did it, and I was like, that sounds cool. I want to try this out. That's what I started doing at the beginning of 2022. And from January to March, I added around 60 kilos to my total. So it clearly worked pretty well. So I kept doing that for the rest of the year. Then I got injured before Sheffield, and my coach
Mhm.
started programming me. So we lowered my squat and deadlift frequency to like take care of the injury, and because he wasn't really that big of a fan of this at that point.
Mhm.
So during 2023, I did 6 benches and 3 squats for deadlifts, or 4 squats, 3 deadlifts. That was alternating. And after
Mhm.
Sheffield 2024, we had a conversation with my coach, and I said, "Hey, I'm healthy. I want to go back to 6 SBDs and see if it works." And he was like, "Okay, let's try this out and see how it goes." And we did that, and it clearly worked out again. So we just kept doing this. And about the 7th SBD addition, it went like this. We were sitting at a friend's birthday, both kind of drank,
Yep.
and I think I jokingly said that I want to add another SBD. And he was like, okay.
Done. Done.
Then we just started doing 7 SBDs.
Without maybe giving too much secrets away about how you do it, but how would a normal week look? Because I'm going to make a wild guess and say you're not maxing out every single day, right?
No,
When you
I'm
do
not.
it that way, there's a bit more thought to it.
Yeah. So basically, I have my primary SBD, which is the first day of the training week. Currently, my primary SBD is on Friday because that matches my next comp day.
Hmm.
Then I have a secondary SBD, which is variations. So yeah, primary is comp variations for squat, bench, and deadlift, and that's like the heaviest session of the week. Sometimes it's singles, sometimes it's a little bit more reps, yeah, depending on how far from the comp we are. Then secondary is usually the heaviest variations, so it's post squats. Then some heavy bench variation like spotter press or pin press or something like that,
Hmm.
where I use a little bit more weight than on the like primary day. And deadlift is also post deadlift, and that's 2 days before my primary. So currently it's on Wednesdays. Then I have like a tertiary day, or
Yep.
however you pronounce that,
Yep.
which is again some variations. So for squats, it's usually high bar. For bench is like close grip,
Hmm.
and deadlift is double post at the moment.
Oof.
And that's a little bit more reps, a little
Yep.
bit less intensity, and that's 2 days after my primary. It's a bit complicated, but yeah. And the rest is a little bit lighter. I mean,
Yep. More like
yeah,
movement, feel good, work on technique kind of stuff.
but also depends on which lift. Because for squats, I also have tempo squats, which are a little bit heavier. Yeah, but I need to think really hard right now. 2 sessions that are super light, that are like percentage based, so around 60-65% of my 1 rep max, just for like 3 sets of 5 or something for each lift.
Hmm.
And then the 7th SBD that we added the most recently is like the day before primary. So it's usually a little bit heavier single, but it's percentage based. So it's not that heavy, but a little heavy. And
Mm.
then some light backups to just get me ready for primary day.
I like that. It's cool. Did you find or have found you've had plenty of negative people out there trying to say that's too much, you can't do it, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to overtrain and all that? Or has everyone been sort of positive around that?
I wouldn't say it's negative, like, oh, you're gonna overtrain. It's more like how you do it, how the hell do you do this? How do you recover? It's more shocked than
Mm.
negative, I would say.
Have you found recovery to be an issue playing like that?
Not really. To be honest, when we started adding SBD days, I started recovering better and feeling better because we just added some light sessions, so just get the blood pump and all of that.
Yeah, because I guess that'd be the common thing. You hear people would be saying it's too much, your body can't do that, you can't do that much, you're going to cook yourself. But I think total's talk, and yours is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it in a way that you will overtrain yourself very quickly, but you can do
Mm.
it in a smart way, and it can actually help your recovery.
That'd be the big challenge. I mean, that'd be the thing you'd have to really make sure you got right. I imagine if you train too much percentage or RPE or however you want to manage the loading protocols, if you put too much at the start or at the end of the week, you will accumulate too much and drive yourself down, I imagine. Do you guys adjust a little bit as you go, depending on how you're feeling through the week and sort of, in those little small cycles and into the big cycles? Or
Yeah, my coach writes my program just 1 week at a time. So he doesn't write the full blog, he just writes 1 week. We see how it goes, and then he writes the next week.
little of adjustment after that. Yeah, I like that. That's a really smart way to play, which is cool. Do you start setting goals for yourself around total expectations and what you can lift at the end of training blocks, or do you just sort of get through it week to week, month to month, and as you get closer, start thinking about what could be possible?
I mean, since I don't really have the full blog laid out in front of me, it's sometimes a bit hard to plan because my reps can change throughout the blog, and so I often don't know what my final week will look like. But if I know, I usually plan what I want to hit. So let's say I'm doing 5 sun deadlifts, and I just have a number in my head that I want to hit.
Yep. And do you get competitive with that number?
Just
Always wanting and chasing more.
yeah, it's probably not the best because then you just get like attached to it and you just chase that number instead of wanting to hit your RPEs.
What happens if you miss a number? Do you get cranky?
Yeah, of course.
I like that. And so obviously being a full-time athlete at the moment, that would afford you a little bit more time for doing stuff like recovery. How important is recovery for you, and what do you do for that word to help keep yourself in shape?
It's definitely important. I just do the most basic stuff. So, staying on track with my diet, eating mostly healthy, tracking macros every day, and I just basically prep every meal, getting steps in. So, I usually get around 10 to 12K steps per day.
Nice.
And the most important one, I would say, sleep. So, yeah, I try to do everything right around sleep. So, I train earlier in the day. I don't
Hmm.
consume caffeine past 12 a.m. I put my phone and all devices away at least an hour before going to bed, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. Probably a little bit more. I also don't use my phone for around an hour after waking up.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to
you know.
screen grab this a little bit you just said, and I've got a young athlete I train. Her name's Maya. I'm going to send that to her and a few other people I train, because I think like that part of being accountable to your sleep, and then what I call a sleep lifestyle or a sleep habit. So phones down, screens not being used in the morning. All those things are so important, but often not considered, and not, or they're like, yeah, I can do that, but they don't. But have such a huge effect, positive and
And
negatively, if you get them right.
one more thing that I feel like a lot of people might overlook is hydration. I drink a
Mm,
lot, and I feel like that's important, especially when it's hot and it's currently summer in Poland. So remember to drink because getting dehydrated can impact your performance a lot. And when talking about recovery, not a lot of people mention that.
yeah, that's a good point. So, how much water would you drink a day?
Around 5 to 6 liters.
That's
at least
it.
on my
Everyone
lighter
needs
day.
7 SPDs and 6 liters of water.
Yeah, let's go.
You might inspire some people for some more water consumption, I think, which would be a good thing. Absolutely. Is there Sheffield on this year?
2026.
Yeah. Will you be
Yeah,
heading for that one?
yeah. We will have two Sheffields actually. I hope
Yep.
to be on both of them.
So you wouldn't be at 84 by then, would you?
No, I plan to be a 76 at Sheffield.
Game on. And then who would be your competition in a points format for that then to try and take out the win? I'm not sure yet.
I mean, Sheffield is based on percentage of world record.
Yeah, percentage of
So
points. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think like honestly, we don't know the full roster yet because there are still two wild cards left, I believe. But I feel like the biggest competition might be the 84 pluses,
Yeah.
and then probably someone from the 63s, like either Kiara or Alba.
Mm.
These two came to my mind right now.
Do you reckon it's a bit of an out there idea, but do you reckon someone would hold back on setting a record if they didn't need to break it by too much and they could still win? So they can hold
At
something in the
Sheffield
bag coming into Sheffield? Yeah, I mean if
at
like at a
work.
Worlds. Yeah, at a Worlds they just break it by a little bit so they don't break it by a lot. So when they go to Sheffield they've got that extra gap on it.
I mean, we've seen people do that, but I feel like at this point, in most weight classes, the battles are so close that you can't really hold back. Like you
You
gotta
can't
give
hold
it
back.
your all, or you can lose.
And then you don't get Sheffield invite. Be a
Yeah,
nice payday. Do you know how much money's thrown around for this next one?
I'm not sure.
Lots,
Probably the
probably.
same as the last two.
Well, yeah, that must feel good getting that check when they comes your way when you've won it the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it's even better because in Polish currency, that's like 5 times the amount. So that's quite a lot of money.
Are you the type of person to reward yourself, like with a big financial moment like that, winning something so cool? Have you bought yourself anything fun or anything like that to note that mark in time for yourself?
Not really. I might spend some more money on food,
More
and
food.
that's like the only go to a fancy restaurant or get some expensive pint of ice cream that I normally wouldn't get.
Yeah, I guess I mean that is the thing for a full time athlete that I mean it's probably not considered other than your general life expenses, the expense of being an athlete, going to the gym, all the recovery stuff, all the food that you need to eat, coaching costs, all the other different things that come with it. That's the money would go quick, I imagine,
Yeah.
if you're not careful and tactical. And curious for yourself, do you see aspirations for coaching at any point in time?
I mean, maybe, but like the thing is, I know that I have a lot to learn before I can start coaching because I see what my coach is doing, and I wouldn't want to be like worse than that, or
Hmm.
not worse, but less, just like have less knowledge. I mean, obviously, he's got years of experience, so I can't expect to learn everything
Hmm.
before I start coaching. But there's just so much to learn, and that's a little bit overwhelming for me because I don't
Yep.
know where to start, and so it's not something I want to do in the near future, but maybe someday
Not
along
for
the
now.
way. Yeah.
Another time. Do you ever think about what would come after powerlifting if there was like like the competitive career can last quite a while, but at some point in time, not soon, hopefully, you want to see you strong for a long time. There's an after competitive moment. Doesn't mean powerlifting isn't still there to lift in, but do you ever consider what you would do after trying to be the best in the world?
Yeah, it's probably gonna start coaching because I just wanna stay in the powerlifting community for as long as possible and like be involved with it. So I will probably still compete, but not at this level, and I will probably start coaching.
Try and win all the Masters tournaments.
Yeah,
Would you open your own gym, Agata barbell maybe?
it's actually in the works, to be honest.
Really? There we
Yeah,
go. That'd be cool. So your own club, your own powerlifting community gym in your local town.
yeah, we're just renovating the place.
Cool. That'll be fun. Big space, small space.
Hmm, It's not huge. It's enough,
Yep.
hopefully.
And do you think are you looking to just grow that local area for powerlifting, or are you just looking anyone who wants to lift a barbell will be able to come and play?
We're gonna have like a powerlifting area and then a more like general public space. So anyone's welcome.
Yep, yep. And what is gym culture like or powerlifting culture like in Poland?
Really depends on where you go. So where I live, which is Wrocław, we have a big powerlifting community, a bunch of
Hmm.
powerlifting gyms, and lots of powerlifters just like living here. There are obviously places where there are no powerlifting gyms, but it's growing, I would say for sure. Um, a lot of commercial gyms are adding powerlifting equipment. So we've got like Ilico or other comp equipment in some commercial gyms, which is really cool. And I think
That's
that
cool.
shows that powerlifting is growing in Poland. Yeah, it's really nice to see.
Yeah, that's cool. I had a podcast with a lad before who does powerlifting equipment here in Australia, and he's starting to service and sell stuff to big commercial gyms around Australia, which is like, I've been doing this thing for about 15 years. I trained under a house because that's where the barbells were for powerlifting. They weren't even anywhere else. So it's exciting to see the growth of this
Yeah.
sport coming through, which would be cool. Do you think perhaps there might be a young Agata out there somewhere in your local neighborhood that would come to your gym, mate? The next one to come through? Is there any up and comers there?
And hopefully we'll see someone. We have a few promising young athletes in Poland. Like the most prominent one right now is Zuza Mazur. She just competed at her first Open Worlds. She was in the A flight already, and she's what 19, I think. So that's really cool. I hope to see her like take the powerlifting stage by storm in the coming years. Yeah, there are a few more.
Be able to
It's
take
nice to
home some
see the
medals
young
as a
people.
nation. Be able to take some more podium spots for Poland
Yeah,
across
let's
the,
go.
which would be pretty cool. That'd be because that is the big stage. Maybe some multiple Polish people at the Sheffield as well.
Oh, that would be so nice. It would be
How much
crazy.
do you look aspirationally to the future? Like, like one day I would like to squat this much, or I would like to bench or deadlift this much. Is there numbers out there that you think you could or would want to do, particularly with the weight gain and the weight class jumps?
I mean, I usually just look at my next comp and think what I want to hit there because long term goals are, it's just hard to predict because
Mm.
sometimes it seems like, oh, progress on this lift is going so well, I'm gonna do this by next year. And then you're stuck on the same number because something went wrong. So, yeah, but I would like to hit 4 reds on squat, 3 reds on bench, and 5 reds on deadlifts. That's like, that would be cool. But yeah,
3 reds on bench. Damn,
we'll see, we'll see.
that'd be a big bench.
Yeah.
That would be huge. How do your numbers? Excuse your totals. If I'm right, I'm right. 630. Is that thereabouts? 620 something.
My best one was 6:35 at the moment.
635. And how does that rank like overall in Poland against the other girls over there across weight classes? Have you got the
Probably
biggest
the
one?
best. Actually, the thing is, I also have the biggest total by anyone, like regardless of gender, weight class, federation, in the 67.5 class right now. So that's pretty
Really?
cool. Yeah, I out totaled
That's really
all
cool.
the guys, even with wraps.
Even with wraps, that's a nice bragging, right?
Yeah.
Do you think so close to 10 times body weight? Did you ever think that'd be an option at a lighter weight class, or that
So
behind you now
the
you're chasing a heavyweight class?
10 times body weight is actually why I did all that cut going into Worlds. I mean, at first I was planning to compete at 63 at Euro Muscle Show, but since
Hmm.
that isn't happening this year, I mean, powerlifting won't, the IPF won't be at Euro Muscle Show this year. I've just decided to stick with it and try to go for the 10 times body weight total. Obviously, didn't work out. I'm kind of upset about that because I went through so much for this cut and I ended up not getting it. But yeah, that's still in the back of my head. I know I won't be able to hit it anytime soon since I'm going up. It's gonna be a lot tougher, but I think I will just at one point go back down to
And go at it
69,
again.
maybe a little bit, yeah, lighter, and try to get it.
Yeah, you strike me as the person who wouldn't want to you're not going to let that go away.
Yeah,
Like you set a target to hit it and it didn't quite happen, and that's going to be sitting there until you tick that box off. That's pretty good. I like that. Now, Mr. Agata, I very much thank you for coming up nice and early. I'm going to imagine there's SBD today. Is that what's coming
yeah.
on today?
My primary
Actually,
session.
I do have a follow up SBD question. Did I see you're doing it twice a day now?
So yeah, I did that yesterday. Yeah, not yesterday. On Wednesday, but it was a little experiment because I missed the session on Friday because we went to junior nationals and just didn't have time. And so again, I kind of jokingly said, "Yeah, maybe I should do two SBDs tomorrow." And of course, my coach was like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's see how it goes." So just to make up for that one missed session, I did two of my sessions in one day.
Yep. How did it go? It
It went
was
pretty
okay.
well. Yeah, I said
So we're going to go to
I
14 days. We're going to go to 14 SBDs now.
not right now, but that's an option for the future. But yeah, I was basically at the gym from 10 a.m. till uh, 7 p.m. So it's just like a full like shift at the gym.
I love it
But
because I guess if you draw inspiration from Olympic lifting, right, those guys will train 2-3 times a day. Who's to say with powerlifting you can't, right?
yeah, so that's just something that we have at the back of our minds that if I don't know if progress slows down, we can always just add two SBD days, one before primary, one before secondary, and just do two per day. We'll see.
I like that. I got a saying, and that is more is more. And the easiest way to get more is by doing more.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
you
that's
live
the
that,
key.
which is super cool. We've got it written on the gym wall in Brisbane here.
Yeah,
One of my girls actually got it written on her belt, which is cool. Now, thank you again for coming on, mate. I much appreciate it. I look forward to this coming out onto the internet for you. This has been the number one podcast I've been looking forward to doing personally as well, because I've been following you for a long time. You are super strong, and all my friends and clients in the gym are also very jazzed to see it. But I have one important question. Normally, it lines up with people on my side of the world, and I say, what is for lunch? But I'm going to ask you, what is for breakfast?
strawberry oatmeal. So yeah, that's like my
That's it.
yeah, just like oats, strawberries, curd, strawberries, milk, some peanut
Done.
butter on top. That's
Perfect. And that's your
like
secret to
my
strength.
favorite breakfast for the past like almost 3 years.
I love it, mate. It's perfect, mate. Well, again, thanks very much for coming on, mate. We'll get this out shortly. Appreciate your time, and good luck with your SBD for the day, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.